Welcome everyone to my latest action figure review, as I have the Bandai Tamashii SH Figuarts, the One Piece Nami based on the Romance Dawn line. So recently Tamashii is making a strong comeback for their One Piece line, and now they're going back to the very beginning with the East Blue Saga arc. So recently we saw of course Luffy, which was a great figure, and now they've added Nami. We know Zoro's also arriving next year, and they've also got plans for Ace and Shanks. So I can definitely see this line expanding more and more in the next couple of years and really reaching the levels of possibly Dragon Ball, probably not as much as them, but certainly not far behind. So looking at the packaging, it's kind of the same design as the Luffy one. A really nice cutout at the top, of course, with the straw hat and the map, and then on the sides we have the usual logos as well as the titles. And it's the same on the other side, wraps around with the different photos of Nami, and of course on the back we have the figure in different poses. So no paper slip inside, but we do have the instruction manual to show you how to put on the accessories on the side of the box. And here is the Nami figure inside its packaging. So here is the first look at the Nami figure taken out of his packaging. I guess first impressions, by now I'm not surprised by how this has turned out to be. Of course, Tamashii is pretty experienced in making not only anime characters but One Piece in general. They've been making a strong comeback recently, of course, with the raid on Onigashima characters. Of course, we haven't seen a Nami figure as of yet for that line, but they have in fact done Nami before many years ago. If you're into the Tamashii line, they did do a One Piece arc which was based on the early years, and of course it was Nami, but even though she was wearing a different kind of costume. Now this is the one that I kind of remember Nami being. This is kind of the classic suit, I guess. I'm not too far into the anime as of now, so this is kind of my memories of Nami at the moment. And I think this one's going to fit right into the collection, especially with Luffy. And in terms of the face sculpt and the colors as well, they really pop. Of course, you're never going to get it 100% accurate to the anime, but from what I'm seeing, it's pretty nice and it's kind of what I expected. I noticed the figure is pretty fragile and light, and this is something I'm not too used to. Most of the characters I get are pretty chunky, pretty heavy, but this does represent Nami, of course, kind of that slim type of character. So first impressions, I do like it, especially the hairstyle, the way it's been sculpted as well. And let me quickly bring in the Luffy figure, which I did review and I really liked it. You can see it does make a really nice display, and we're just waiting for Zoro now and then the rest of the characters later on. And if you're interested, I also have the Netflix One Piece Nami as well. Of course, you can see that attire is inspired from this one, so it's a really nice pairing for them together. So first impressions of Nami, I kind of do like it. Of course, it is just kind of like the classic look and kind of what I expected. And now we can take a look at the different accessories, starting off with the alternative hands. So the ones right out of the packaging, we do have a pair of closed fists. They aren't exactly punching fists for Nami, but they are closed hands. For the first set of alternative hands, we have a pair of open palms or relaxed hands. We also have a pair of grapple hands, which is for her weapon. We also have one right hand, which is with the pointing finger. And we also get one set of hands which are paired up together or stuck together, and this just gives off another kind of classic Nami pose. And now for one of my favorite parts of the figure, which are the face expressions, especially for the One Piece line. I really like what they've been doing recently. So the first alternative face sculpt, we have the happy expression for Nami with the eyes closed. We also have another classic Nami expression with the winking face with the tongue out. And then we also get one angry expression with the gritted teeth, and this is probably paired up for kind of the fighting poses or with the weapon, which I will get onto later on. And for the fifth and final faceplate, kind of like Luffy, we have the full-on animated face sculpt with the angry expression. And as a bonus, here is the extra faceplate for the Luffy figure, and this is something that Tamashii have been doing with the One Piece line, and that is including these extra bonus faceplates for previous figures. And now we can take a look at the weapon included, which of course is the rod or the staff for Nami, and I believe it is the right proportions and it is pretty basic. It just slips through the hand and of course can be paired up on both sides. You just need to get Nami, of course, in those dynamic poses, and then you can really get this figure looking pretty cool. And for the final accessory, of course, we do have the treasure box, and it's always nice to see extra bonus accessories included. and it is a pretty solid piece, and based on the promo photos I believe this can be opened, which I'm going to test out now. And as you can see, we have all the gold inside, and obviously they're not single pieces, it is just one piece of sculpt on top, but this is actually pretty cool to have as a display. And now we can test out the articulation, so the movement of the Nami figure, starting off with the head sculpt. So you can see it can turn left and right, no problems, 360 spin, and it can also tilt left and right, downwards slightly, and then upwards motion as well. There's also rotation around the neck. And then for the arms, no problems, they stretch side to side really well, very smoothly. And then forwards, backwards, and then upwards. You can see the ball joint on the arm has good rotation for it. And then for the lower half of the arm, there's also rotation with the skin area, and we also have a good kind of elbow bend. And then there should be a rotation on the hands as expected, and then not much of a hinge, although most of the time they should have one, but this one doesn't seem to have that much of it, but it should be able to move slightly. And then for the body, so the upper half, you can see it has good rotation. You can kind of hear the sound, it does go all the way around if you want, left and right, and then downwards slightly, and then backwards as well. And then for the actual abs, it is a soft rubber material, so this is probably going to be better for the movement. So you can see it does have a waist swivel, which kind of goes all the way around if you want. In terms of moving the body forwards, there's not much there, but you can see it does kind of have a slight body crunch, and then backwards as well, and then of course a side to side. So it's more of the turn on the waist rather than the actual crunch. And then for the skirt, I noticed it's also made out of rubber material, so that's going to allow better movement on the legs. So stretch it side to side, you can kick the legs forwards and then backwards as well. You can see there's a thigh kind of joint there, so there's rotation, and then there should be a good knee bend. And then for the shoes, there's rotation, there's also a hinge side to side, and there's also a toe hinge. So in terms of the articulation, I think it's okay. It's a very small, fragile figure, so just be very careful with the joints. But in terms of most of the standard kind of movement is there for Nami. So yeah, that's the articulation. So now for the size comparison, starting off with the SE Figuarts One Piece line with the Romance Dawn Luffy, as well as the Netflix live action version of Nami. Here it is also next to the SE Figuarts Netflix versions of Luffy and Zoro, as well as next to the SE Figuarts One Piece The Raid on Onigashima line with Zoro and Sanji. And here it is next to some SE Figuarts from the Dragon Ball line with Goku and Vegeta. And here it is next to some SE Figuarts Jujutsu Kaisen characters with Yuji and Nobara. So now for my final thoughts on the SE Figuarts Romance Dawn Nami. This is a very straightforward release, kind of expected after the version of Luffy, which was a great figure. This one is kind of what I expected, with a great sculpt. We have some nice colors. Of course, it is Nami in her classic costume, which is very different to the previous release. And it has been a while, so no doubt this is highly anticipated. In terms of the poses, we have a variety of face sculpts with 5 in total. Of course, we also have one for Luffy, and plenty of different hands as well as her main weapon. And as a bonus, of course, we have the treasure chest. So there's not really much improvements I would wish this figure needs, as it is pretty much what I expected. And of course it now fits right into the collection with Luffy, and I'm looking forward to Zoro and the rest of the characters as well. So I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. This is as good as the Luffy one, and it's probably a must if you're collecting the Romance Dawn line. If you enjoyed this video, of course be sure to check out my Luffy review if you haven't already, as well as the Netflix live action version of Nami. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned to more One Piece SE Figuarts.